Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of the Classics Show. I am your host, Shabnam Riaz. As always, it's such a pleasure to be here, to be able to talk about literature, the classics, the things in life that we're missing on a daily basis because we're so immersed in our everyday routine activities. So this is one of those times in the week that you can really sort of unwind and have that moment of leisure. Today we are going to talk about Punjabi language. And this year marks 250 years of Heer Waris Shah. And for people who are familiar with the story of Heer, they will know that it's been penned down by many, but Waris Shah's Heer is actually something that has remained timeless and in the hearts of many. As we know, Waris Shah was a spiritual, a great Punjabi poet of the 18th century. And we're going to talk about both him and his work of Heer. Now, to talk about today's subject, we have a fabulous guest in the studio, Mr. Mahmood Awan, who is based in Dublin, in Ireland, and you're especially in Islamabad to record the Classics Show. Award-winning author of 3 Punjabi books, and also you're a columnist. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Shabnam, and thanks for having me.
It's wonderful. The timelessness of Punjab's folk kissa. We were going to talk about that, you know, the beauty of the kissa, the setting, everything merging together, the cultural heritage, the richness, the fertile lands of Punjab. How does it all work and what is the magic behind it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Punjab, as we all know, has a beautiful landscape and has a very vibrant community. And Punjab, before partition, was the area or the region which was purely multicultural and multi-religious. So everywhere in undivided India, you have Hindus and Muslims. But in Punjab, you have the Sikhs as well. So we have 3 different, apart from the Christians and some of the Jains as well. So we have that multi-religious community all over, an inclusive one in Punjab. So the land gives birth to its folklore. I mean, that is how the literature evolves from its land, from its language, from its people. And if you have a vibrant land and a vibrant landscape, it gives rise to the poetry. And if you talk about the Punjabi language, we don't talk about the fiction or the prose of Punjabi. We always talk about its poetry, because of and that tells you about its people and about its landscape, how poetry evolves out of it. And Kissa is one of our Punjab's most popular as well as heart-touching genre of poetry, which was popularized since its inception. And its origin can go into the Persian literature, because from the Masnavi, it may have evolved into this Kissa, because it is written in 4 or 5-liner structure, and that is how it is evolved. Baba Farid Ganj Shakar is our first written poet, so he is our first classic poet. And then it came to Guru Nanak, and from Guru Nanak, then it came from there, it came to Shah Hussain, and Guru Nanak and Shah Hussain. And in between them, there is a guy called Damodar. So Damodar is the first poet, and Damodar Gulati, he was the one poet who wrote the first Heer, as we call it.
Okay.
There's another guy called Haridas Hariya, which is said to have composed this epic of Heer, or the Kissa of Heer. But the Mudar is the first one whose Heer has been popular before Waris Shah wrote it. So all this genre of Kissa leads us to this beautiful Kissa of Heer Ranjha. And as you know, I mean, this is not the only Kissa Punjabi land has produced, language. We have number of Kissas, and because of the Indus Valley civilization and Harappan civilization, it even leads us towards Sindh as well. Right. So some of the Kissas, and that's why, you know, Bulleh Shah is the most popular kind of poet and with Sachal Sarmast and Sindh as well. So out of all those Kissas, Heer Ranjha's Kissa is the most popular Kissa of Punjab.
Right.
And that is across religions, across communities.
It transcends everything.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
That's so true. Is that one of the reasons for its popularity as well, for the reason that it's still so vibrant today?
Yes, I think that there are many reasons for this Kissa's vibrance. And before I go on that, it's very interesting because the second popular Kissa in Punjabi land is Kissa of Mirza Sahiba. In which Mirza is killed by Sahiban's brothers. So, and Mirza is a Jat, and the way Mirza Sahiban was written by Hafiz Bar Khurdar, and before that Pilu. So the way Mirza was depicted in those Kissas as the guy, as the you know, the hard man of Punjab, you know, the hero. So and Ranjha is considered as a bit of a sublime, submissive kind of a character. Yes. And that Kissa is coming too much, especially across borders in East Punjab. Now Mirza Sahiba is read and relished more than Heer Ranjha because of the masculinity of Mirza's
and the more familiar people of that area were to be able to relate to
absolutely the Jat clan
who was, you know,
absolutely
showing his masculinity.
He was the man, you know,
of
who
course.
took the girl and then he was killed and then his tribe came up. The beauty of the Kissa of Heer Ranjha is the strength of the character of the Heer.
Oh, yes.
And that is across all writers who composed it. Because before Waris Shah, it was composed by the Mudar, and then it was composed by Ahmad Gujjar, and then it was composed by Chirag Awan in 1701, and then Maqbul. And from Maqbul it came to Waris Shah. And the rhyme and the structure of the story used by Maqbul is the one which was used by Waris Shah.
Right.
But the beauty of Waris Shah's, you know, timelessness is that he has not only composed one Kissa, he has composed the whole region, the whole Punjab, and we call it the poet of the Punjab.
Right.
And Waris Shah is considered as poet of the even undivided Punjab. And I would like to narrate because the Shaheed Udham Singh, who assassinated Michael O'Dwyer as a Jallianwala Bagh massacre, he was the Governor General of Punjab at that time. He took oath on Heer Waris Shah.
Yes.
He didn't took oath. He was a Sikh.
Yes.
So he didn't talk
on his holy book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he said, no, this is my holy book.
Imagine.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it transcends religions and languages and even languages because it's translated in so many languages.
Absolutely.
But it transcends the communities. And the beauty of Waris Shah, and we will discuss that in detail, is that it's a holistic depiction of not only the Kissa, the main characters, but Punjab, its cultural encyclopedia, as well as its socio-political history of that time.
Of course.
So all those manifestations make it such a great...
It's sort of a treasure chest that you open, and then you find these various jewels inside that are showing you of the sort of, you know, the pricelessness of everything that was going on at that time and what Punjab had to offer. Now, when we talk about the characters, and as you very rightly explained, this, you know, huge contrast to the two main figures in this love story. We have Heer, who is very, very beautiful, and she knows what she wants in life, and she's not afraid of getting it, and, you know, she's not afraid to be assertive. Then we have her as the main sort of action figure, and then we have Ranjha, who is sort of more of a reactionary, and in the middle, you know, he'll be a bit assertive later on. So how did people respond to Waris Shah's depiction of Heer, as was before, that, you know, she was the main person who was assertive in this love story? Yeah,
I mean, and I think that's a right depiction. The way story evolves is that Ranjha was always a flute guy. You know, he has the flute in his hands, and that is how Waris Shah narrated it as well. So when his father dies, his brothers ask him to go and work in the fields now.
And he's also very obsessed with his
beauty, absolutely, absolutely, his charisma.
So he thinks, I don't have to work, I don't have to think, I can rely on my good looks
Absolutely, because the first day he goes into the fields, he comes back and he shows his hands to his sister-in-laws. Look what has happened to me. So, you know, he was that kind of a pampered child.
Right.
He never worked, so he was always, you know, on the flute, and the way his sister-in-law says him means looking after him. He was very popular among girls as well.
Right.
So he was that pampered child, and the only main action which Ranja performs is when he crosses the river, and that is a very metaphorically symbolic action as well, because in those parts, in those times, crossing the rivers means you are gone. It's like the Thana area, you know, you have gone out of that area, so you are gone.
Right.
So, and that needs a huge courage to cross a river. It means when you cross a river, you are gone from your own area and your clan, and your whole position in the society is because you are nobody wherever you go now. So the first action performed by Ranja, the courageous one, was crossing the river. When he's taunted by his sister-in-laws, he says, "Okay, you take everything." And the taunt is very interesting because...
And please do read us the exact words of the taunt, because I think that is very interesting, because that is the main turning point of the story, is it not?
Absolutely, because
when he's actually... So please, also with a bit of a translation as well for...
I will read that. So he is, means the way the setting is in Waris Shah is that he has come back from the fields and now he is debating with his sister-in-laws.
And she's saying, you know, what are you going to do with your life? Do something,
absolutely. You are an overhead. So and then he's very beautiful. So what he says and what his sister-in-law says is, "Sada husn pasand na liavna hai, ja heer syal vyah liavi." So they say, okay, look, means he was taunting them about their beauty as well. So the sister-in-law says, okay, if you don't like us, means if you're not beautiful, or the girls of this area, Takht Hazara, are not beautiful, go across the river and go and wed with Heer. So that is the taunt, and it seems, because in another line Waris Shah says, it seemed that the girls of Syaz were very pretty and gorgeous.
So they were renowned
anyway, all across area,
you know,
across the river
as well. That, you know, if you want to see real beauty, there is
absolutely. So after that taunt, this is the first action which Ranja takes. He crosses the river. And when he crosses the river, he comes across, he has nothing in his hands apart from a flute.
Right.
So he crosses the rivers and he comes across a sailor, a boatman, Ludden.
Right.
And he has nothing. He's empty-pocketed. So then he pleads to Ludden that, please, you know, I have no fare to give you, so can you take me across the river for free? And Ludden is, and that's a very interesting line which Waris, and that tells you about the poet itself. And I'll try to see that if I can find it out. And when he says, then please take me across the road in the name of God, I have nothing and I can't pay you the rent. And he says, "Assi Rab ki jaande bhen pada, chappa thel de lab de vaste the." Look, don't tell to me that I should take you for free in the name of God. I work here for money. So if you give me money, then I can go across the river.
Right.
So you don't, you know, that is how the Punjabi poetry and the resilience and the rebellion of the Punjabi poets tell you. It would have been a blasphemous today if it has been used by any poet today. And then he don't take him across the river. And then Ludden has, if I remember correctly, has 2 wives. So then, you know, he has a discussion with his wives, and they start liking Ranja.
Of course, he was very popular among the female community anyway.
Absolutely. And then they
all had a soft heart for him.
And then they force the boatman to take him across the river without anything, for free.
Right.
And that is how he crosses the river and reaches in the land which belongs to Heer. So should I keep on narrating that?
Exactly. And so now he's crossed the river. He doesn't know where he is. He's just got this, you know, he's sparked on by this taunt that has been given to him, and he's now on a mission.
Absolutely. And then Waris Shah starts narrating beauty of Heer, because he was one of the most gorgeous and beautiful girl in that area. And it's amazing. Means I've just narrated a couple of lines.
Please,
He
yes.
says, Hot surkh yakut jion lal chamkan, thodi seb valaiti sar vichon. His lips are like pearls, red pearls, which are shining, and his chin is like an apple, an imported apple. Seb valaiti sar vichon. And nak alaf Hussaini da piplasi, zulf nag khazane di bar vichon. And his is like an alif. His nose is so straight and rising, and his hair are like snakes. So he keeps on narrating
now
his.
Amazing imagery there and
Yeah.
vocabulary that's so powerful.
Yeah. Surkhi hotan di lord dandasade da, khoje khatri katal bazar vichon. He says the redness of his lips and his white teeth, that can kill people in the markets. Khoje khatri katal bazar vichon. So that is how.
Now this depiction is this depiction that Waris Shah has made. He's making a general depiction, or is this coming from Ranja seeing her for the first time? What is this?
No, it's a general depiction.
This is a general depiction.
Because he's just setting the scene now that who he is. Because in like a piece of fiction, he's introducing Heer to us now, to his readers, who
and
she is.
So we're waiting with bated breath that there's this beauty of Sejal and there's this also equally handsome and really, really beautiful person who's coming along, and so everybody's sort of waiting for that encounter.
Absolutely, yeah. and so that is how he narrates the character, and before that means before they come across each other, there is a little scene and there is a little dialogue, because Waris Shah is a master of dialogues. He loves the tension and tension among characters when they're talking to each other. He loves that tension and that exchange. So when he crosses the river, he has to spend one night in a mosque. Okay. Before he goes and goes into the yacht of Heer. Okay. So he spends one night there, and when people tell him this is, and he starts playing flute in the mosque. Okay. So then people tell the mullah or the Maulvi of that mosque that here is a guy who has gone into your mosque. So he comes in to throw Ranja out of the mosque, and there's a very beautiful exchange over there, and that's very interesting. So. He himself, means Waris Shah himself, was a prayer leader when he wrote this epic. Yes. So he has no love affair with the prayer leaders or with the mullahs. So that depiction, that exchange is very beautiful as well, where he likes to throw him out of the mosque, and then there is a dialogue, and Ranja turns to the mullah's back, what you do in mosque and what kind of a hypocrite you are. So that exchange is beautiful. But anyway, then he goes. The morning comes, and then he goes into on the bank of the river, and there is a big beautiful yacht, and in that big beautiful yacht there is a big bedding. So there are the boatmen who are standing there, and he goes there on the bank, and Ranja, being Ranja,